Okay, so here's our 1 week update. We've been living in the van a week now, driving from Oregon to Colorado. We spent a little over a week getting it as ready as we could, given the weather and everything. Hanging out at my dad's place mostly. I did the insulated floor, got the walls and the ceiling mostly insulated. My dad was super kind and let us borrow his little buddy heater, and that's been working. It's been maintaining temperature really well during the night on low. And we have a toilet, a little RV toilet kind of thing, that he's been letting us use. We got a couple of water tanks that we're just pouring out of.
I love the toilet, especially when it's 20 degrees outside. Very helpful.
Yeah, that's been an upgrade.
I found some free furniture,
Yep.
free mattresses, free tabletop. Aaron did an amazing job of creating temporary
Yeah, we just did
functions. So tying down
temporary
the desk.
shelves just with some spare plywood I had, and some paracord to just kind of hold things in. So just kind of figuring out, how much storage we need, how big of storage. I've hit my head on the corners of this a couple of times, so I'm like, okay, the permanent cabinets are going to have rounded corners. So yeah, it was just an opportunity to not only get us on the road, but also live in the space, learn how we use the space. We got this free desk that I'm sitting on, but it's, desks are deeper than what you'd want, like a countertop. So we're discovering that we're going to want something a little narrower and a little taller, having everything countertop height or even a little higher than countertop height in here. And what else? We got the Reflectix window panels with magnets done. That's worked out really well. That's helped a lot. So it's just black fabric on one side and Reflectix on the other with some magnets. And yeah, I think that helps with the low temperatures and stuff. It's been down into the low 20s a few nights.
The fog is totally clearing.
But oh yeah, the view is beautiful. We're just outside of Boulder, and you can see our view out our window from our parking spot right now is pretty spectacular. So yeah, I'm super happy about that. Just freedom to be on the road and just to stop wherever we want, make a snack, use the toilet, whatever. It's all here. Just kind of traveling with your home is pretty awesome. I'm enjoying that.
And about a couple days ago, I was really eager to find us showers because it had been a little bit on the road.
Yeah.
The campsites were $31, plus you had to pay to use the showers. So instead we found Old Town Hot Springs up in Steamboat Springs, and they had shower facilities, hot springs. It was under construction, so we did hear a jackhammer, but we also heard the sound of falling snow and a little bit of hail as we were hanging out in the outdoor hot springs. But that was awesome, even with all the sounds. A little bit of both sides,
Yeah.
real world and bliss.
Yeah, it wasn't free, but
No.
we really needed showers.
Yeah.
So
And I think we would have spent the same amount of money at a campsite versus
yeah, and we got to
wild
hang out
camping.
for the day and use the Wi-Fi and deal with screaming children at sometimes, but so
we have clean hair.
So yeah, and we used iOverlander app a lot to
Yeah.
find good little camping spots. It's definitely been a challenge without four-wheel drive. Most of the time we've been in areas where the public parks and city wildlife areas or whatever, they're not plowed. The gravel parking lots aren't plowed and stuff, and so we've had to abandoned a few of our places we wanted to stay, just because we didn't want to get stuck. We actually almost did get stuck once. Super nice guy came up to come check up on us, and we ended up getting out okay. And he showed us a better place to go park. It was super nice. He was in Utah.
And when we went to that place, we found 3 teenagers stuck in the snow.
Yeah, yeah. And I just happened to have chains from the Ford Focus, which fit their little, Pontiac or whatever it was, and so I was able to get the chains put on well enough to get them backed out of the campsite, and then just yesterday there was another bunch of people in a minivan that pulled off, in one of the highway pull-offs that hadn't been plowed, and so we helped dig them out.
And they were from Miami. One of the ladies, it was her first time seeing snow, so they were really kind of unaware of what their minivan could do and not do.
Yeah, it was like sitting on top of the snow. It was not good.
And the weather conditions have been intense. There was an avalanche that happened before we hit it. 8 feet and 15 feet of snow over the highway, and then a semi crashed yesterday and blocked all lanes of the I-70. So we've taken some detours.
It's just been detours after detours. Yesterday was kind of a frustrating day of driving, but the really nice thing is with this way of traveling and this kind of lifestyle, where we're really operating on a pretty loose schedule, and so as we drive by the people that were stuck, that were on the side of the road, I'm like, oh wow, that sucks. They're stuck. They keep driving, and then I'm like, well, wait a minute, we're like not on a schedule. I can just turn around. So we just go a few miles down the road, find a place to turn around, come back, and it's just nice to be able to be slow enough to be able to stop and help people out or get to know people or it just opens up opportunities that maybe you just pass by, and I'm really enjoying that rhythm. So what else? Condensation is a real thing with both breathing and propane heat. Ventless propane heat. So we've had like a couple of like these ceiling support beams that don't have foam in them yet. They get condensation and then they drip on the countertops and stuff. So having all of the metal surfaces actually covered, that exterior skin covered. The Frost King stick-on foam foil-backed insulation that I got for like sound deadening and insulation makes a huge difference. You can't feel any condensation on the foil backing, and then like the metal right next to it, you can like wipe your hand and you get a bunch of moisture. So longevity of the vehicle, rust, whatever, mold, definitely all beneficial to have that Frost King stuff all over the place, which I think I went through 8 rolls of it, so it's all over the place.
Yeah, and I think living in the van for a week has really helped us see how we want to do things, and not having walls up yet, we did catch that, and just the importance of doing the foam insulation and all those nooks and crannies it's hard to get to.
If I would have sealed it right away, that condensation would be there and eventually probably create mold or rust, and we wouldn't know. So it's been good to kind of solidify, what do we need to do before we close it up, and like, we're using all these little cubbies. This rail here has some space, and I made sure not to fill that with insulation, and having that at the head of our bed is awesome. So I'll eventually trim this out and cover this with wood, but I'll bring the ceiling down, and so we'll still maintain that little ledge, because all of those little storage spaces for all the little things just to be within reach make a huge difference. What else? Oh, this styrofoam R-Tech insulation. It's we couldn't find the 1-inch polyiso insulation, which is what I used at the Up here I used the 1/2 inch, and in the floor I used the 1/2 inch polyiso. That was so much nicer to work with. The foam is like an open cell foam with the polyiso, and so it cuts really easily and doesn't make a mess. This R-Tech stuff is basically just styrofoam with foil on one side and like a plastic liner on the other side, and it's like creates all those little staticky styrofoam beads that just frickin' get everywhere. It's like almost as bad as glitter. So that was, we wouldn't repeat that. But it is insulation, it works. It is a little bit cheaper, but the R value is not quite as good. But it's what we had access to, and we needed to get this thing insulated. So it works, but we'd definitely do the polyiso if we had the choice next time. I'm super happy with these lights. The lighting is really nice. I'm going to put up this so you can see it. These lights are a set of puck lights. Let's see if I can get it to refocus. There we go. These lights are a set of puck lights that we got on Amazon. They come with a little switch, but they also have variable color temperature. So they have warm white, cool white, and then both. So the warm whites are really nice in the evening when you're trying to wind down. So I love lighting. I like having control of it. It came with its own little dimmer switch, and I've got multicolor lighting in the back, so that's kind of fun. But the dimmer switch allows us to dim it way down in the evening, and yeah, really enjoying the lighting so far. I think I want to put 1 or 2 more lights up in a couple different places, but for the most part, it's just a couple underneath the shelf here. One very middle here where we're going to have like a little pull-out dining table, and then 2 just on either side of where the sink is going to go. Trying not to put any over the top of the walkway, so that way you're never standing there with a light right on top of your head, standing in your own shadow all the time. So yeah, and then just the little multicolor LED strip that goes underneath the bed, and then kind of around and underneath the shelf. We just use that for the bedside lighting. None of the puck lights go on that side. Eventually we'll have a curtain, so that way one of us can go to sleep and be dark over there, and I can stay up and work or whatever. We have ice sliding off our car. Yeah.
And so this kind of concludes our week on the road.
Yeah.
We start a house sit today, and we've been using Trusted House Sitters, which has allowed us to stay in some amazing places from Eugene, Oregon, Bend, Oregon. Now we're going to be staying in Boulder, and so we'll get a couple weeks to stay in a house and be able to do more construction on here while we're not living in it, which I think will make things so much easier.
We've been doing this shuffle of pile the bed, and then, it's ready for bed. Okay, pile the desk, and we just don't have enough organization yet. So yeah, being able to go to a house sit, unload the van, work on it. Like right now we've got a bunch of hardwood flooring that's just piled up underneath the desk and around in various places sticking out. So hopefully I'll get the hardwood floor done. So that'll be out of the way. So yeah, just getting a chance to empty out the van and make some more progress as we go.
And I'll include a link, or I'll give you the link to include, so you can get a couple months free. It also allowed us to go to Japan for 2 months for free. So it's a really cool website.
Yeah. So loving the van life. So yeah, we'll give you more updates as we go. I'll take more pictures as I figure out how this place is going to come together and what it's going to look like. I'm excited to include bits of leather and wood and stuff that I find around, just kind of get to the sort of aesthetic decorating part and functional part, not just insulation and flooring. So yeah, kind of excited about the art project that is the van build out as well. Okay.
Have an awesome day.
See you next time.